So yeah, I'm looking at players for next year's draft. Jordyn Tyson, a guy I really like, wide receiver out of Arizona State. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was a guy that was hurt when they lost to Texas in that playoff game. But Tyson, you look at the way he can concentrate, hands, run after the catch, adjust to the ball, pretty good releases off the line of scrimmage. So there's traits all there for Jordyn Tyson. I really like this guy for Arizona State. 24th right now in the consensus draft rankings, and that's where he's peaked as of yet. So yeah, Jordyn Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State, I like. Another guy that's draft eligible next year. Obviously, you got to take this with a little grain of salt just because some of these guys won't declare. Some of these guys will come back for another year. Sometimes even they'll come back they'll be still playing in college football 2 years from now. So, but yeah, Jordyn Tyson. I really like Caleb Banks too. Banks is a beast. Caleb Banks, I mean, this is a guy who, I don't know the full story, but he was at Louisville, transferred to Florida. I've heard Billy Napier in press conferences really mention Caleb Banks' name several times. So, yeah, Banks' ability to get off of blocks, strength at the point of attack, reminds me kind of actually the way he disrupts the game, similar to Mason Graham. Just when he wants to move, when he reads the play where the run's going, and he wants to move laterally and rip through a block with two hands and just get a guy off and push a guy to the side or rip a guy to the side with both hands, he can do that. So yeah, Caleb Banks, disruptive defensive tackle. So him, Jordyn Tyson, two guys that are catching my attention right now. Two guys that'll be eligible for next year's 2026 draft that are catching my attention. Talked last night, Carson Beck's another guy. Carson Beck, I mean, I guess the question is, what does he do with his opportunity this year? New team? Does he kind of revive himself? I don't know. They were talking, I was listening to Greg Cosell and Ross Tucker today. They're talking about, Dylan Gabriel drafted by the Browns, 5th round. And what's interesting with Dylan Gabriel is he's made it work with 3 different teams. So that's the thing. Sometimes when these guys transfer, you kind of in the case, sometimes when these guys, it doesn't work out at one school, but they have more success at another. Do you kind of, how do NFL evaluators kind of process that, if you will? So that's the thing. Carson Beck, Joe Burrow didn't work out at Ohio State simply because he couldn't get on the field. Carson Beck, we've seen him on the field with one team. We've seen highs, we've seen lows, we've seen interception problems. So let's say he goes to Miami and really has a good year. Do people kind of put the up and down play at Georgia behind, or do they still kind of go back and say, okay, I don't know, or do they go back and maybe question it a little bit? Why was there up and down play? Is this kind of just a 1-year outlier? So, and then if Carson Beck has another underwhelming season, does that really tank him, or is there still people kind of holding on to the traits that he has, the size? The accuracy, things to like about Carson Beck. So yeah, Carson Beck, one of the more intriguing guys for a number of reasons. 2 different teams, high recruit out of high school, success at highs and lows at Georgia. So yeah, Carson Beck, and he's a quarterback too. So he's going to be intriguing for next year's draft. If he declares, obviously he still could come. I think he does. Does he have another year? I think he does have another year of eligibility in 2026 if he wants to come back. But I don't know, maybe because I don't know I don't know how many more years of eligibility he has. But Danny Dennis Sutton too, the edge rusher from Penn State, he was kind of, Abdul Carter got all of the hype and obviously very well deserved. But you look at this guy, Danny Dennis Sutton, I like the way he just relentlessly will pursue quarterbacks, kind of like Abdul Carter. Those two guys, just when they got off of blocks and they could see the quarterback, it was a straight beeline for the guy. So I like Danny Dennis Sutton, Cade Klubnik. I'm just going to keep watching more of these guys. Carnell Tate, a big body. I could see teams kind of viewing him like I'm going to look. How tall is Carnell Tate? I could see teams viewing him kind of like the Arizona receiver this year, Tedoroa McMillan. I wasn't even high on McMillan, but you look at, Carnell Tate, 6'3", 192 pounds, maybe on the thinner side, but you look at like, I don't know. He stands out with his size, and I've seen him. He made a nice, really crazy catch in traffic, and he looks like just a rock solid wide receiver with size. So that's always a good combination for a wide receiver, a guy that good size and can play well relative to that size. So Malik Muhammad too, good player. You can see him really read plays quickly. I was just watching a few snaps. Looked like I watched him play in zone. Looks like he can. Yeah, read plays. Looks like he can diagnose passing plays in zone pretty quickly. Next guy we'll watch, Santarine Perkins. And then, Mateo Ungole. So just kind of going down the list here. But yeah, Jordyn, Tyson, and Caleb Banks, two guys standing out.